Hi, my name is Eric Idle, and I feel horny about being Conan. You're supposed to take that seriously.
I only laugh because I don't want to cry. You're always cornering me at some party, grinding up against me in front of your wife, the lovely Tanya.
Well,
and it's awkward.
That's the closest she gets to sex.
It's watching the two of us go
Exactly.
at it. Oh, well, lovely then. Perfect. I could not be happier that you're here. You've been on the podcast before. You're one of my favorite human beings on earth. I will say that without reservation. He hates a compliment. But as you know, I've been telling you for years and years and years in my opinion, there's Python, and then the rest of us are just dicking around. So I mean that. And I want to say this right up top, that you have brought this book in that I adore. It's called The Spamalot Diaries, and you we'll get to that in just a second, but it's fantastic, and I encourage everybody to go out and get this book because it's a joy. It's a real treat, and it's about the process, and that's one of the things that I adore about it. But first, let's talk about how much you admire me. I've allotted 40 minutes.
Well, you should know how I feel about it. I think you're...
I can't even... Nothing
yet. I think you're one of the funniest people on the planet.
Oh, that's insanity. We're not doing that.
No, it is. And that was a surprise to me because I thought you were hilarious, but then I saw you do stand-up at the Largo, and you killed me.
Oh,
and
thank you so much.
I've forgotten that obviously you've been doing stand-up for millions of years when you weren't
really.
around.
I never did classic stand-up, but if I'm in front of an audience, I'll try anything. And
you're like me. You're shameless in front of an audience.
I am. Oh my God. My God. It's.
But you're much funnier than me, and
nope. But anyway, let's make this about you. I'm cutting it off. I don't like this. This is about Eric Idle, and
you just invited me to say something nice about you.
Yeah, but I thought you'd take that.
You guys really are horny for each other. Get a room.
I thought you'd take that opportunity to shit on me, and you fucked it up. I've had one of the best things that's happened to me in my adult life is getting to know Eric on a bunch of occasions. And then Eric, I know you've moved since then, but you would have me to your home. Your lovely wife, Tanya, would be there. Your daughter, Lily, would be there. My wife and I, Eliza, would go. And you'd put together this salon of really funny, cool, musical people. But one of the things that always grabbed my attention is I'd walk in the front door and there was a poster, and it was from university. It's from 1963, I think.
It is from 1963, and it's from the Edinburgh Festival. That's my first public performance.
And it's you as a squeaky young lad, and it's a giant photo.
I think of a handsome young man with the world ahead of him, you know.
Okay, squeaky might not be the right... I meant you were clean, squeaky clean.
Probably, yes.
But it's this poster from 1963, and it's when you're getting started. This would be easily 6 years before Python, but you're just getting started. And I always looked at that. Every time you had me over, I would look at that poster and kind of time travel back to this other time when all of you guys were getting started and finding your way. It's before you all found each other, it's magical.
That's not quite true. You see, oddly...
That's true. You had worked together, yeah.
Quite by chance, I had already met John Cleese. Mm-hmm. I had already met Graham Chapman, who was at St. Bart's Hospital studying to become a fully qualified alcoholic.
I like a person who really does their work.
Puts the time in.
Yeah, puts the time in.
And I met at Edinburgh Terry Jones and Michael Palin, who were doing the Oxford Review. So in 1963, we'd all met, with the exception of Terry Gilliam,
right,
whom no one has yet met.
You can meet him, but you still haven't met him. Yeah, I would look at that and just think about, this is a document. This is I'm a history buff, and I'm also a comedy buff, and to look at that poster, it was always hard to lure me away from it because I just thought, this is fascinating. This is, that's the year I was born. And I wanted to put that in just to accentuate that.
But it's also the year of the Beatles. So
it's the year of the Beatles in England, not the year of the Beatles in America. We think 64, but it was 63.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. At the Edinburgh Festival was the first time all the girls were playing all their records, and we go, "What's all this about? What's all this about?" So
these guys with this weird hair that are living from Liverpool,
absolutely, and then they came through Cambridge the year after, and everybody changed. The whole world changed. We used to wear little old tweed jackets with leather pads.
Yeah.
Suddenly we're wearing Beatle jackets and saying, "Who's your favorite Beatle?"
Yeah.
And so they actually did literally change the world after that Edinburgh Festival.
You know, it's funny. You can look at college yearbooks and high school yearbooks from 1963. You could in the United States, if you look at a high school yearbook from 1964, everyone's got buzz cuts and horn rim glasses. Everybody, and they all look kind of the same. And then you look at the high school yearbook from 1965. There's still the occasional guy with a crew cut who just can't get the message. But everybody else has that hair. It changed everything. But we'll talk about the Beatles another time. I want to talk about
the Rolling Stones.
The Rolling Stones. They took the blues, which is deceptively simple form, and they transformed it.
I have a theory, that Python, because this was all rock and roll, came in just in those years, and the band used to be in the pit, and then they came up on the stage, put on tight trousers, started to play loud music, and all the girls chased them, and the comedians had to wait in the wings for a while.
Yeah.
But my theory is that Monty Python became the first mock and roll group.
Yes.
Because we did stadiums, we ended up playing the Hollywood Bowl, we did O2, we were the first ones, and the second was, of course, Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Because they had they brought rock and roll into it.
Yeah.
So the comedians were all fighting back then.
It's funny you say that because, and then I guess I'd be third in that line.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I came along and people were like, women were like, I gotta fuck that guy.
No, they were just saying, fuck that guy.
Oh, yeah. I misheard it.
Yes.
I misheard it. Now, you're right. Okay, I got to get the hearing checked. But you know what?
When I first did SNL, the first time I did it, my first guest was Joe Cocker, and Belushi came on and mocked him. So that was actually really mock and roll.
But this is an interesting trajectory because your good, dear departed friend George Harrison famously said he felt the Beatles break up sort of, I think, technically in 1969, at beginning of 1970. That's right when Python is hitting the air. And George Harrison said he really felt the spirit of the Beatles was passed on and went into Python. And I thought, did you guys ever talk about that? Did you talk about that with George?
We talked about almost everything because when we met, we just talked all night and we just talked for about 2 or 3 weeks. But like, what was it like being in your group? What was your group like? What was your John like? But I think that the secret of it was that America...
Your John. Everyone's got to have a John.
What happened in America was when the Beatles first arrived in America, what made everybody love them was they were funny.
Yes. Yeah.
And there was this guy called Ringo with a big nose, a funny name, the funny haircuts, and everybody knew Ringo first. That's the first name they knew. But it was their humor at that airport conference that broke them in America. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah.
And so, in a way, they were just as funny as we were. They just were all Liverpool comedians, really.
Yeah.
But they went the wrong way.
They went the wrong way.
They went on the dark side.
They wasted their time in music when they really could have been a sketch troupe. Yeah. They really could have been a sketch troupe. And it's sad when people take the wrong turn, but what are you going to do?